Welcome back. Today we're unlocking the secrets of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. Minted from 1909 to 1958, these classic cents may look ordinary, but some hold rare dates, errors, and hidden value. You might just have a small fortune hiding in your change. Let's find out. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a copper coin that quietly carries nearly a century of American history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint during the depths of the Great Depression, this penny was created at a time when every cent truly counted. Its design, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat ears flanking the denomination on the reverse, remained unchanged for decades and became a staple in American pockets, tills, and piggy banks. This particular coin, although worn and in bad condition especially on the front side, still offers historical value and potential collector interest depending on the circumstances of its wear and visibility of its features. On the front side, or reverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile may be badly worn down. The condition being described as bad on the front side suggests that major details like Lincoln's facial features, the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and possibly even the date 1935 might be partially or heavily worn away due to age, handling, or environmental damage. Corrosion, dirt, or improper cleaning can also damage the coin's surface, further obscuring these details. However, even in poor condition, the reverse side may still retain legible design elements such as the 1 cent denomination and the classic wheat ears framing the words United States of America, which helps confirm its identity and adds to its historical character. The 1935 wheat penny was minted in large numbers, over 245 million coins from the Philadelphia Mint alone, and without any mint mark. That makes it a common date among wheat pennies. In well-circulated condition like this one, especially with significant damage to the obverse, the coin's value in the collector market is very low, typically just a few cents above face value. Its primary value is historical or sentimental, unless it possesses a rare error or unique feature that sets it apart. There are, however, rare exceptions. A small number of 1935 wheat pennies may exhibit minting errors such as die cracks, off-center, strikes, or doubled dies. These errors occur during the minting process and can elevate a coin's value significantly, sometimes into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and demand. Even a coin in poor condition might be worth examining closely under magnification or with the help of a professional coin grader to rule out or identify such errors. Collectors of Lincoln Wheat pennies often look to complete year and mint mark. Sets and even low-grade examples can fill a slot in a starter collection. The 1935 issue in particular is sought for its Depression-era background. Though not a key date, it remains part of the pre-World War II series of Lincoln cents, all struck from the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a composition that gives older pennies their distinctive reddish-brown tone, though environmental exposure can darken or corrode it over time. Coins like this, damaged but old, often serve as excellent educational tools or nostalgic keepsakes. They remind us how far our currency has come and how even the smallest coin can reflect the era in which it was made. For someone starting a collection or researching coins from the 1930s, a 1935 Lincoln Wheat penny, even in worn or bad condition, has its place. The true joy in owning or studying a coin like this isn't always about high monetary value. Sometimes it's about the story. A piece of metal that passed through countless hands, perhaps used to buy a loaf of bread, pay for a ride on a streetcar, or dropped into a child's piggy bank. The wear and damage on the coin's surface aren't just flaws. They're signs of life, of use, of history in motion. That's what gives even a damaged coin its quiet, enduring significance. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny struck in the years just after World War II. Wetudu carries with it the story of a nation rebuilding, innovating, and charging forward into a new era of prosperity. This particular coin, in good condition, is not just a humble 1-cent piece. It's a solid piece of mid-century American heritage. And here's where things get fascinating. Because while many might see just another old penny, collectors know that even these post-war coins can hold surprises, especially when they're preserved, as well as this one. Now imagine this. You're holding a coin that has witnessed the end of the war, the rise of television, the birth of rock and roll, and the transformation of America from a wartime powerhouse to a booming economy. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, especially one in good condition like this, is a snapshot of that moment in time. Its clean features, legible date, and sharp wheat ears on the reverse make it a standout for collectors and history buffs alike. Let's talk about the design for a moment. The obverse of this coin still carries the proud, steady gaze of Abraham Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner and introduced back in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse side proudly displays the classic wheat ears that gave this series its name. These details, still crisp and visible in your coin's current state, show it has been well preserved despite its age. The 1949 wheat penny was produced in large numbers, more than 217 million at the Philadelphia Mint alone, which means it doesn't have a mint mark. But even with such a large mintage, finding one in good original condition more than 70 years later is becoming harder and harder. And collectors know this. The better the condition, the more appealing it is for filling out a quality wheat penny collection. In today's market, a 1949 Lincoln penny in average circulated condition might sell for just 10 to 25 cents. But when it's in good condition, like this one, the value jumps. Coins with minimal wear, strong details, and natural color can fetch $1 to $3. And if you go one step further and find this coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, now we're talking serious collector interest, values pushing into the $15 to $50 range and more. But what really sends collectors racing is the hunt for rare errors. Yes, even a 1949 penny could be hiding a secret. There are known 1949 wheat pennies with doubled dies, coins where the lettering, numbers, or even Lincoln's profile has been struck twice slightly offset, giving a shadow or blurry effect. These errors can fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the doubling is and the condition of the coin. Imagine having a 1949 doubled die penny in a high mint state. Some have sold at auction for over $2,000. That's from 1 cent to thousands, just like that. And don't forget repunched mint marks. While your coin doesn't have one, being from the Philadelphia Mint, 1949 coins from Denver or San Francisco sometimes feature errors where the mint mark was punched more than once. Those details are tiny, but to a sharp-eyed collector, they're worth their weight in gold, or at least in hundreds of dollars worth of copper. So, is your 1949 Lincoln wheat penny one of those rare gems? Maybe. The good condition you've described is a fantastic starting point. Check the lettering under magnification. Examine Lincoln's eye, the "In God We Trust" inscription, the liberty to the left, and the date itself. On the reverse, inspect the wheat ears and the words 1 cent and United States of America. Any doubling? Any unusual curves or shadows? That could be your ticket to a big discovery. Even without rare errors, this coin's condition makes it desirable. Collectors assembling high-quality sets want well-preserved examples for each year, and the 1949 penny is a solid mid-century piece. Its post-war production, classic wheat reverse, and representation of a nation moving forward all make it more than just pocket change. It's a relic, a story, a little disc of history you can actually hold. So the next time you glance at that humble copper coin, remember, it's seen more than most of us ever will. And in the right hands, with the right eye, it could be worth far more than just 1 cent. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny holds a unique and historically significant place in American numismatics. Struck during the height of World War II, it's a coin that embodies a nation in the throes of global conflict, yet determined to maintain stability on the home front. This particular example, though in bad and rusty condition, still carries value, not necessarily in terms of monetary worth, but as a testament to endurance, history, and resilience. The coin's obverse features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Despite the corrosion and wear, one can often still faintly make out Lincoln's portrait. The inscription, "In God We Trust," arching above his head, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date 1944 on the right. Because this coin does not carry a mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 1.4 billion wheat pennies that year, making it one of the most common dates in the series. Yet, condition always plays a critical role in collectability, and this coin's heavy rust and overall degradation significantly reduce its numismatic value. The reverse side, even if dulled or pitted by oxidation, originally displayed the classics, twin wheat ears that give the coin its wheat penny name, flanking the bold 1 cent and United States of America inscriptions. Above, E pluribus unum forms a curved arc. On a rusted coin, these features may be partially obscured, faded, or altogether missing. Yet even in such a state, there's something hauntingly beautiful about a coin that has survived 8 decades, perhaps carried in the pocket of a soldier, exchanged during wartime rations, or tucked away in a drawer during years of economic uncertainty. While most 1944 pennies were struck in copper alloy, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, there are rare steel varieties that were mistakenly minted using leftover 1943 steel planchets. These steel 1944 pennies are incredibly rare and valuable, fetching thousands of dollars at auction. However, this particular coin's rusty appearance is more consistent with a degraded copper coin rather than steel. Still, identifying the metal can be easily tested with a magnet. Steel pennies are magnetic, while copper ones are not. Even if rusted, that simple test can rule out whether you hold one of the ultra-rare steel examples. Rust and corrosion like that on this coin often result from improper storage, exposure to moisture, acidic paper envelopes, or extreme temperature changes. When oxidation attacks a copper-based coin, it forms a dark, flaky crust that weakens the surface and detail of the coin. While professional conservation methods exist to preserve such coins, any attempt to clean a rusty wheat penny at home can cause further damage. Collectors typically prefer even a corroded coin to remain untouched, as improper cleaning not only destroys surface details, but can also permanently reduce any remaining value. In the case of this 1944 penny, the bad condition and rust would place it at the lowest end of the numismatic grading scale, somewhere around poor, P1, to fair, FR2. In this state, it likely has only face value or nominal collector value, perhaps a few cents from someone looking to fill a space in a low-grade wheat penny set. Despite its common mintage and poor state, many collectors enjoy holding on to wheat pennies from the 1940s as part of historical sets, particularly for teaching tools or educational displays. There's also an intangible value to coins like this, The idea that this small piece of metal has endured since 1944, possibly passing through countless hands over generations, adds a layer of human connection that goes beyond the metal or date. It's not just currency, it's a silent witness to history. The war was ongoing, industries were converted to military production, and rationing defined everyday life. Pennies like this one were made from recycled shell casings, giving them the nickname shell case cents. That fact alone means your 1944 penny may literally contain traces of America's wartime effort in its metal content. So while this particular example may not be suitable for high-end collecting, and its physical state renders it of low market value, it remains a piece of wartime history. And in numismatics, context matters. A bad and rusty coin still tells a story, and for those who care about the narrative, that's worth more than any price tag. The 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a coin minted during the final years of the Wheat Penny series, a beloved design in American coinage history. The D mint mark signifies that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which was responsible for producing the majority of pennies that year. Over 1.05 billion of these coins were minted in Denver alone, making it one of the more common dates in the Wheat Penny series. Despite its large mintage, the 1956 D penny still holds a special place among collectors and history enthusiasts due to its symbolic value and its connection to the mid-20th century in America. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which had been in use since 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. The obverse includes the inscriptions "In God We Trust" arching along the top edge, "Liberty" on the left side near Lincoln's shoulder, and the date 1956, followed by the D mint mark on the right side. The details on Lincoln's CYD face, hair, and clothing, when well preserved, reflect the artistic craftsmanship of early 20th century engravers. Even in circulated condition, many of these details remain visible due to the relatively high-quality strikes from the Denver Mint during that period. The reverse of the coin showcases two stylized wheat ears bordering the phrases 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum arching above. This wheat design had been a mainstay of the penny since 1909 and was replaced just 3 years later in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. As such, the 1956 DD is part of the final chapter of the iconic wheat penny design, and for that reason alone, it holds significance. In terms of composition, the coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives it a distinct reddish-brown hue when well preserved, although it may darken over time due to oxidation, especially in circulated coins. Many 1956 D pennies have been exposed to decades of handling, environmental changes, and storage conditions, which often results in varying levels of surface wear, patina, and color changes. In circulated condition, which is how most surviving examples are found, the 1956 D penny is typically worth just a few cents to around 25 cents, depending on the level of detail remaining, the presence of marks, scratches, or corrosion, and overall eye appeal. Higher grades, such as Mint State MS examples with full original luster and no signs of wear, can command higher values from collectors, especially those seeking to complete date and mint mark sets. Despite being common, the 1956 D penny remains a favorite for new and casual collectors. It often appears in starter collections and bulk wheat penny rolls due to its abundance, but it also carries nostalgic and educational value. It represents an era when pennies were made with real copper and held more tangible value in everyday life. It also evokes a sense of post-war American life, when the country was undergoing major social and economic transformations. Interestingly, There are a few minor varieties and errors associated with the 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny, including repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D mint mark appears doubled or distorted under magnification. These varieties are usually sought after by specialists and can add a small premium to an otherwise common coin, especially in higher grades. Ultimately, while the 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny may not be rare or high in value, it remains a strong representative of American history and coinage. Its classic wheat reverse design, connection to Abraham Lincoln, and copper composition make it a cherished part of numismatic collections. Even in average circulated condition, this coin tells a story of mid-century America, of working, hands, pocket change, and everyday commerce. It's a coin that has likely passed through countless lives over nearly 70 years, and in doing so has quietly earned its place in the legacy of American coinage. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, is a well-known coin among collectors and history enthusiasts, representing a significant period in both American and world history. This penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark and is part of the broader Lincoln Wheat Cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958. The 1945 issue is notable for its association with the final year of World War II, a time when the United States was deeply engaged in global conflict and immense social and economic transformation was underway. This coin features the classic design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On the obverse is a right-facing portrait of Lincoln, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1945 on the right. Since it was produced in Philadelphia, it does not carry a mint mark beneath the date. In circulated condition, as with many coins of this age, some details may be worn or softened from years of handling, but the red shade on this particular specimen suggests it may have retained a good portion of its original copper luster. The reverse side features the iconic wheat ears that give the wheat penny its name. Two curved stalks of wheat border the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, while the Latin motto "E pluribus unum" appears across the top. The wheat reverse design is simple but elegant, and it held a prominent place in American coinage for nearly 50 years before being replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1945 Lincoln cent is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard alloy used from 1864 to 1962, except during 1943 when pennies were made of steel due to copper shortages. By 1945, copper had returned as the primary metal in cent production. The reddish hue, or red shade, found on this coin indicates that the surface still reflects some of the original mint color, which can occur when a coin has been stored in a relatively stable, oxygen-free environment. Such a red shade is more commonly preserved in uncirculated or lightly handled coins, so its presence here, even in a circulated coin, adds to its visual appeal. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion Lincoln cents in 1945, specifically, around 1,115,000. This makes the 1945 penny one of the most common wheat cents in existence. As a result, even well-preserved examples are relatively affordable and widely available, especially in circulated grades. Nonetheless, collectors value it for its historical context, classic design, and its role in the coinage of the wartime era. In circulated condition with a red shade, this 1945 penny might show only slight wear on Lincoln's cheekbones, jawline, and the wheat ears on the reverse. The fields, the flat areas around the devices and inscriptions, might show light scratches or small contact marks from years of being in pockets, drawers, or change jars. Still, If the red color remains visible across significant portions of the surface, that can slightly improve its desirability, especially to those building visually pleasing collections. The market value of a 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark, even with a red tint, is typically modest due to its high mintage and availability. In average circulated condition, it's worth around 1 to 5 cents. If the red color is preserved well and the coin has minimal wear, putting it in the red-brown or red classification used by professional graders, it might fetch a slightly higher price, especially to those interested in collecting by color designation. In uncirculated red condition, prices can climb into the range of $2 to $5 or more, depending on the exact grade. This coin remains an affordable and approachable piece of history, perfect for beginners in numismatics or anyone seeking to build a complete date set of Lincoln Wheat pennies. Its historical backdrop, issued in the same year World War II ended, makes it particularly meaningful. The red shade adds uniqueness and speaks to the care it may have received over decades. Overall, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny, without a mint mark, especially in a circulated condition with red toning, is a charming and symbolic relic of American history. While it may not be rare or highly valuable in monetary terms, its historical significance, iconic design, and preserved red hue give it lasting appeal among collectors and enthusiasts alike.